Yes, so, well, hi everybody, and it's lovely to see you all. Could we just kick off with a little bit of housekeeping? One thing is we have a problem next Wednesday, which is the 27th of October, because Mavis has a clash at 1 hour into the call, which would be 5 p.m. my time, 11 a.m. Central Time, and whatever time it is where you are. And so the options as we see it are that we either, that Mavis just drops out and we continue without Mavis for that last half hour of the call. Another option is that the week 2 takes place on Tuesday at the same time. Obviously, we've no idea how that affects your diaries. That would be 4 p.m. UK on Tuesday, the 26th. And the third option is that we simply miss out next week altogether and add a session on at the end of the series. So that would be, instead of having our last session on the 10th of November, we would have our last session on the 17th of November. Because there are so many of us on the call, it would actually be useful to know what, because what we'll probably go with is a majority of participants. It would be kind of useful just to get a sort of view of how that what the thoughts are initially, because if there is a clear majority, then that would be what we would go with, but maybe there won't be. There's no pressure at all. It's really up to you. Any thoughts?
I want to apologize. This whole mess was my fault because I am a techno idiot. So I will go along with whatever you want. There.
Do you know what? One way of just doing it simply is, thanks, Shirley. Exactly what I was going to suggest. Put it in the chat, and then it's we don't have to sort of waste time going around everybody, and I'll get a chance to look at that over the course of the call. And if there is a clear winner, we'll just go with that. And obviously, the recording will be available for anybody that isn't able to make whatever decision we come up with. So if you wouldn't mind, folks, just Donna, the question was, Mavis is unavailable. She's only available for 1 hour next week. So we either proceed without Mavis for the final half hour of next week's call, we move to Tuesday, or we add a call on at the end. Our final call was just to be the 10th of November, and the other suggestion is that we have our final call on the 17th of November, missing next week out. So if you don't mind, if you've got a vote or a preference, please put it in the chat. And the majority, there are 1 or 2 people who aren't on the call today, who will be watching the recording, but most of us are here. So if we have a clear majority, we'll just go with that. And yeah. So that's probably enough about the that particular question. It is lovely to see you all here again, and to meet somebody for the first time. And in fact, that was going to be the question that we're going to start with, is just to ask some of you to just tell us either why you came back, if you've come back for the second series, or why you decided to join. And it is enormously helpful to just take the session deeper when people respond to those kind of questions. So please, if you've got an answer to that, just come in, unmute yourself and come in.
The quickest way to go to silence.
I was very happy to come back, although it was a last minute sort of sign up, just because I love hanging out with the both of you. I didn't join for any specific reason last time, other than just that I know that if with an open mind, I'll hear something fresh and new. And last time, something really simple just really landed so deeply with me, which was just following the feeling for clarity. That just had a bigger impact on me, and I just saw something differently. So I know that there's always some gems that will come from the sessions. I love the way you express things, Mavis, and it's so nice hanging out with you too, Christian. So that's why I come back.
And your dog is with you. You feeling better now? Thinking less? Good.
Thank you so much, Karina. Who else?
I'll go. I did not join you both last time, and I'm delighted to be here this time. I love hearing Mavis's share, and Christian and I share a lot, so it's always good to hear you both together, and what's coming out of this, I hope, will be wonderful. I'm delighted to be here.
Good to have
Thanks,
you.
Barbara.
I'll just quickly say hello to everybody again, and I was just going to come in after Karina there and say ditto. Just everything that Karina had said, that was how I felt as well. I got so much out of the last weeks that I thought, absolutely, why would I not come back? So that's why I'm here again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Donna. Good to see you.
Hi everybody. Yeah, I'm here for a lot of the same reasons, really, you know. But I got so much out of it last time, and I was in hospital for 4 days last week because I had a heart attack, and my head was a bit mashed. I must be honest, because I was going for the bypass, then I wasn't going for the bypass, you know, and so I'm not going for the bypass at present because I'm not sort of fully over COVID yet, but which was good for me because I got into like a real thought storm for a couple of days where I didn't know what was going on. I was going for it, I wasn't going for it, I was going for it, you know. So I came through that now, and I've got sort of a bit of peace of mind back, and that's thanks to really the three principals and yourselves, you know, and Jackie, which is around here somewhere. I can't see her picture. We were talking to, but I'm still here. I'm still, as Christine would know, trudging the road of happy destiny, and hopefully at some point they've told me they're going to crack my chest open, was their exact words. I just wish they would get on and do it because I've got 12 stents in there at the present. I think probably when I die, they'll weigh me in for scrap metal. I'm good today. That's the main thing. At this moment in time, I am good. I was not good at the weekend. I'm staying with friends at the moment. But thank you. I'm here because I heard a lot that I liked last time, and I got quite a few insights into me. And I could talk all day, but I'm going to shut up now because I'm here to listen to what Christine and Mavis have got to say, and everybody else. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're with us.
Thank you.
Wow.
Oh,
Yeah.
that beats everything for what are you up to?
Well, I actually am a recovering alcoholic, and I always used to say alcoholics are hard to kill.
Well, I'm glad that's so in your case. I'm really glad to see you, Mike.
Thank you, Mavis.
Yeah.
I could go next. My name's Denise, and I'm new this time around, and I decided to join. I've been around the principles for a little while, and I've just, or I guess looking at this understanding, and I've just found it to be really life-changing in lots of different ways. And I find that just engaging in conversations around it is really helpful, helps remind me that it's all just my thinking, because I forget a lot. And so I thought this was a wonderful opportunity to just gather with a group of people and look in this direction.
Great.
Lovely to meet you, Denise.
Thanks.
Laura, were you about to come in?
Yeah, so I'm new to it, so hello everybody. I think you might have spoken to Ed, my son, and Charlie. You did, I think, one-to-ones with them a couple of weeks ago. So I'm kind of doing it because Ed brought the understanding. I work in an all-girls school in our local town, and Ed used to teach there and brought the understanding into school. He's not there anymore, he works in the NHS now, but it made such a phenomenal change to the work we were doing with students in school that I'm constantly on their kind of tailcoats, learning a bit more and learning a bit more, because it's how we work with our students in school now. We coach from an inside out, we call it inside out perspective. So yeah, this seemed the next step to do. So that's why I'm here.
Lovely, welcome.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that you're doing that. A whole new generation coming that understand how they're made. Wow.
And what I would say, Mavis, is your videos go out constantly. I work with a colleague, and virtually every day we're sending your videos out to our students 4, 5, 6 times.
Oh, I'm glad you're making use of them.
Yeah, Why Worry Doesn't Work is a real favorite. It's fantastic. It's really transformed how we work with them, because since COVID, the levels of anxiety are through the roof.
Oh, that's such good news. Thank you for telling us that.
Thank you.
Do you want to hear a funny story about me?
Yeah.
I have hearing aids, and I've had them for, I don't know, 15, 20 years. I injured my ears going to a baseball World Series game where the noise was so loud, people got anyway, and it's also because I'm older than dirt, so that's part of the reason. But so I had my hearing checked yesterday, and before I went there, I was thinking, oh, what if it's gotten worse? I'm really big on listening. I have video and audio tapes out there about listening, and I just think it's so important. And I think how ironic if the person that's the most interested in listening goes deaf. Like, how's that going to work? And then I started thinking about, well, okay, how can I keep teaching even if I can't hear anybody? And so I was kind of building up this whole kind of big problem. I went in and got my ears tested. They're fine.
That's a positive.
So sometimes I forget what I teach. And I'm not done forgetting it yet. So forgetting it is not a sin. It's not against the law. The memory police aren't going to arrest you. You just forgot. So what? Makes for funny stories. Okay, I'm done.
Would anyone else like to come in and say hi?
Yeah, I'll just come in and say hi, Christian. Oh, sorry, NJ.
Yep, go for it.
Hi, everyone. I did the last program as well, and I got a lot out of it, so thought I'd come back. Yeah, I'm living with quite a challenging, well, I have been living with quite a challenging situation in the last few years. It's still pretty challenging with my daughter, so I just figure I need all the extra bolstering input as I can get. So this is another 4 weeks gift to myself.
All right. Good. Welcome back.
Good to see you, Marie. Gary.
Hi, I'm Gary. I was there for the previous 4 weeks, but I missed the last week. And I re-watched the recording, and I was really inspired by Mike's input. But I'd signed up straight away as soon as the email came through, and I just didn't even think about it and just said, "Yeah, I'm in. I'm not really turning up with any ideas about what I want to get out of it, other than maybe I'm going to listen a lot differently than what I have done in previous workshops that I've been in over the years." And it was a delight to see Marie and David here, because I thought, oh, I'm not on my own after 5 years.
Thank you, Gary. Good to see you back from Spain.
Yes, indeed.
Hi, shall I go?
Please.
Thanks, I'm Natalie. I was on the last session and I thought they were wonderful. And why would you not have an opportunity to continue it and do it again? So here I am. It's just a really fabulous opportunity, I think, in the middle of a busy week, to just kind of ground yourself and take the opportunity to slow down. And I think it's amazing for that, because I have 3 daughters, teenage daughters. I'm sat in one. This is Harry Styles behind me. I'm in my daughter's bedroom. She really likes Harry Styles.
Wow.
So, when you're busy mumming, it's nice to have something to take you out of it, and then obviously to try and pass on to them a bit of peace and a bit of wisdom. So yeah, thank you both very much. It was wonderful last 4, so I know this 4 will be. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jackie. I did the last 4 weeks with you. I was getting on quite well with the whole understanding, and it was all going well. And then a few weeks ago, my marriage broke up, and I plummeted and couldn't connect with the 3 Ps at all. Just felt like I'd forgotten everything, and I just couldn't think. I was going to say think my way out of it, and I know that's not right. But you know what I mean? I couldn't see for the trees. I just couldn't see it anymore. So I'm trying to relight my fire, is what I've been saying. And the last 4 weeks was really good, and I could see snippets again, and so I'm back for more.
Oh, the fire actually didn't go out.
No, very much felt like it though.
Been there, felt that.
Yeah.
Never goes out.
You're looking very sparkly, Jackie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who else? We would like to give everybody an opportunity to say hi, if you want it. Shirley?
I heard Neil speak about Mavis so many times that I got curious way back, and I was on a course with Grace, and now I saw now Mavis is sending out emails. I saw a new opportunity, and I didn't know you were doing this together, so I'm very happy to be here and to learn more and go deeper and listen to you.
Sweet.
Yeah, good to see you again. after it's been, seems like quite a few years.
Another person with long gray hair. Can't have too much gray hair.
Rocking that look.
Mhm.
Kim, are you leaning forward to say something?
Hi.
Hi.
I'm a little starstruck. This is my first time, but I've seen so many videos of you, Christian, so many videos of Mavis. Mavis, I've got 2 links. I'm a therapist. I got 2 links on my resource list that go right to your videos. So I'm just like in awe, and I've had the pleasure of having an hour of Barbara's time this year and felt very, very fortunate. So I'm new to the 3 Ps, only 2 years in, but I've been transitioning direct, to just 3P from traditional psychotherapy. And it's been quite a challenge.
Yeah.
And I'm always looking for resources. So I'm very glad to be here.
Okay. Welcome.
Thank you.
Great, you're very welcome. It's nice to meet you.
You know this thing about being starstruck? There's a astrophysicist whose name I can't remember at the moment, who he's gone now, but he used to try to make astrophysics explainable to us with less understanding of it. And he was talking about actually what we talk about, how the universe is made of intelligent energy. Everything is intelligent energy. And he said, in other words, we're made of stardust. So I just wanted you to know that everybody's made of stardust, not just us. I mean, it's like starstruck is just a thought, but you got the same stardust as we do. You're just finding it out.
Yeah, it's literally true. I mean, I'm not sure how much this bit has to do with 3 principles, but literally, we are made up of particles that were once, each of us, that were once part of different stars, and we might have one part in our nose and one part in our hand, each of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Khalifa, you're the only one who hasn't introduced himself. I would like to give you the opportunity.
Oh, thank you, Christian. Hi, Mavis.
Hi.
Yeah, I was at the previous series, and I just came back again to look more into deep listening. I mean, listening. I just realized that listening and understanding, they just go together. I never know that before. Like two sides of the same coin. So I'm looking into that. Yeah. Yes.
I didn't know, Khalif, that I didn't know that they were part of the same thing either, because the way I used to listen had nothing to do with understanding. I used to listen to people through my own mental activity, analyzing and processing and judging, and that had nothing to do with listening. I had no idea that really listening to someone had nothing to do with what you were thinking. It had to do with clearing your head so that you could experience this deep, I call it this golden cord between your heart and someone else's. that you just got them. You just understood, even though you might not be able to explain what it is you understood, but you just, it's kind of a, I get them, I get them. And it's so nourishing to listen, which is why I'm so glad my hearing aids work still. I had decided after all of that turmoil, I had decided that lots of times when I'm listening to people, though, if I can just see them, even if I can't hear them, I can understand them. And I can have stories that I can recall of listening to people who were speaking a completely different language than I was. And we still, because we were just in this space of listening beyond words, we understood. It's I know some of you have probably had that experience, however rare it might be, and you didn't know what it was, but it's a feeling that you get about another person, and there's no explanation for it. It's just all energy. It's just, you feel the connection of the whole. And it's well worth letting go of all the noise in your head in order to land in that place. So I recommend it. I actually highly recommend it.
Yes, 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 yes.
For those of you who, like Laura, who's a teacher and using videos, that's a good use of, like the listening, there's some listening class videos out there that I did, and they're free. And what they kind of do, if you're a teacher of any kind, is they set the table for your teaching. They prepare people to learn at a really deep level. Sometimes I think, well, I've actually noticed that when people start learning to listen without anything on their mind and just with the intent of really understanding someone, many times that's the first time people realize that they think, because they can hear themselves analyzing or processing or diagnosing or assuming or thinking they have to fix someone, or they get reminded of a story that may or may not be appropriate to say at that moment. But the point is, they hear themselves doing that. They catch themselves thinking. Now, it isn't that people don't know they think, but they don't know it sometimes. They don't know that they are actually thinking all the time, and would not even be able to experience life if they weren't thinking. They were creating their experience through thinking. And sometimes we misuse that gift, and sometimes we use it the way it's meant to be used. But that's what the principles teach us, that we are creating illusions all the time. And if we understand the principles, we learn when to trust our thinking and when not to. Even if you never in your whole life will be able to explain the principles, you can understand them. And that's what's important. That's it. That's the answer. it's like any other laws of nature, like gravity. You're taking gravity into account all the time. I ask you to just take my word for that. It's like you set things down on the table and you don't set them too close to the edge because gravity might grab them. You hold on to things when you're on a ladder. You do all kinds of things, taking gravity into account. It's a law of nature. You know about gravity, but you may not ever be able to explain what it is. Once you understand the principles, that's the same thing. You can hear yourself, you can feel yourself creating your experience, and your feelings are giving you information about the quality of the experience you're creating. You take it into account, and you get so you're taking it into account all the time. And when you forget, you can feel it. You can feel it. But yet you may not be able to tell a principle from a hole in the ground. That's not important. I had to kind of figure it out because I wanted to pass it on, but I pass it on in my way, and you, because you understand, you're passing it on in your way just by how you are, just by modeling what you understand. That's really the most powerful way. I see Mike and Jackie, who have had some pretty traumatic times recently, and here they are, telling their story, laughing a little about it. They have pink cheeks. In Mike's case, he has a pink head. And here they are because they understand. And they understand when they forget. Isn't that amazing? It's just, I'm grateful to be a human being. I think I'm better at that than I would have been, say, if I was I don't know, horse or something. I'm glad to be a human being.
Something you said in there, Mavis, about just as we kind of allow for gravity, and that there's a kind of experiential understanding of this that helps us. I had an insight today, and it was about that. It was about my first experience with the principles. And I had fallen into that place of listening. In fact, I wondered where the hell I'd landed and what I was doing, because I thought I was on a sort of business development course. And so, it turned out I wasn't. It was all about the principles. But I'd fallen into that place of kind of listening, and somebody said something along the lines in this weekend training about nobody's broken. And as I now see it, in that moment, I kind of connected with my essence that had always been there, but I hadn't known about it. And it had the effect of, it was like a huge weight falling away from me, because until that moment, I had believed that I was broken. And I didn't think that was even up for question. It was like something changed. And I also saw that other people who I felt responsible for weren't broken, or it wasn't up to me to try and mitigate their problems and so on. And and it's only in retrospect, because I knew that something deep had happened to me, but it's only in retrospect you see how deep, you know, it's only that changed my life, that moment. It really changed my life because I'd spent 20 years before that trying to find a spirituality I could rely on, something that I could trust, and it kind of occurred in that moment. But the point that I saw in what I saw in today's insight, and I kind of, you touched on it some more, is it was a recognition rather than learning new information, if you know what I mean, that whoever it was that used a phrase like that was waking up something that was already there. And I really saw that in a new way today. I've heard people say that before, you know, that we all understand this, but we don't know we understand it. And I thought, yes, that's exactly what happened there. And since then, you know, it's been an ongoing exploration over a decade or something, and it's been. But I stopped searching then. I knew I'd kind of stumbled into something important that was there, and there was and it was recognition as opposed to, you know, going on a course to learn something new or practice something different. It is, as I see, you know, that this is within us all now, and we have varying degrees of awareness of it within ourselves, and, you know, between each other, you know, but it's, yeah. And the experience of that, the knowing of that, and the settling into that is the wonderful part, as opposed to, you know, being able to explain it. You know, if you might be able to explain it beautifully, but if you're not experiencing it, you're missing out the most extraordinary part of it.
Oh, well said. I had a experience recently that I'm astonished I hadn't had earlier, that I hadn't known this earlier. I'm just astonished. I don't always feel joyful and hopeful and happy and non-judgmental and, you know, all this. I don't always feel clean and clear and present and kind and full of gratitude and well-being. And I hadn't realized that I thought the real me was when I didn't feel that way. I thought, because I could hear sometimes myself say, well, if people knew sometimes how cranky I can be, they wouldn't believe me about things. They wouldn't be starstruck. Okay. And that felt kind of bad, but I didn't know kind of why it felt bad. And one day, this is this year. It wasn't like just 10 years ago I got this. It was just recently that I realized I had it backwards. That who I really am is when I'm clear and alive and awake and grateful and kind and in the moment and coming from love and being in service. That's my true self. The other is my habit self. I had it backwards. And I'm going to be 82 in just a few weeks. I had it backwards until just recently. So what do you think of that? it feels really true to me, and it feels really good to me. It just is, it's new. It's new for me. And I ain't done having things be new to me. I realize that I'm kind of like an iceberg, that what I know is the tip, and what I don't know yet is the bigger part of the iceberg. But that's okay. That's okay. I'm glad for what I've gotten to know so far, but I can hardly wait to find out what else I haven't known for 82 years. But it's given me a lot of peace to realize I had it backwards. And I keep telling people, you know, I don't know how many times I've told people, no, you are just exactly the way you need to be. That when you're feeling out of sorts and angry and scared and insecure and all of that, that's your habit self. That's not who you are. How many times, even you people have heard me say that, probably more than you ever needed to, but I've been saying that forever. I didn't know it about myself. Duh. So I'm practicing getting used to that. And it's clumsy, but it's lovely. It'll help me be nicer to myself when I forget.
Before we came on the call, Mavis and I were having a conversation, and one of the things we were talking about is exactly that process of always learning, and learning from people who are on calls such as these, or clients. And I'm just thinking that one of those moments actually was, Gary, something you shared in our first conversation, and which is quite a few years ago now. And it was both learning or seeing something new, but that same thing of recognizing the truth of what you said. And what you said, you were talking about having left a job, and I'm pretty confident you'll be okay with me sharing this, because it's not. But you had left a job, and you were moving into sort of follow your heart, really. And somebody had said, is this wise? I mean, you've done X, Y, and Z, and you're in this great position. Should you leave? And you had just found yourself saying, listen, I know I've got everything I need within me to make this new work a success. And it was just a wonderful that same recognition, that deep recognition. And I would never have said that about myself until after I'd heard you say it. So thank you.
Well, thank you for bringing that up, because it seems quite a long time ago, and that was just in a moment, and it was actually something along the lines of my husband, who said, are you sure you're doing the right thing? You're going to leave with nothing. And I was like, nothing. And I didn't even think about it. It just came into me and said, I've got everything I need, but I don't know where I didn't know where I was going or what was going to occur, but it just felt right that moment that I wasn't staying in the place where I was, because it had come to an end. So yeah, and I think what he meant was his own insecurity, quite fair enough. What about the money? But yeah, so thank you, Christiane.
Thanks, Gary. Is anybody else recognizing moments of recognition like this for themselves?
Yeah, Christine. Yeah, hi everybody. Yeah, again. I've made one or two sort of decisions lately in my own life, which for the first time in my life, I'm following my intuition and my wisdom. It's been screaming at me all my life, but I've never had the courage because I've always had good jobs and I've chased the money, and I don't have any money because the more I made, the more I spent, you know. But I'm actually today following what is right for me, and it feels good. It really does feel good. It feels right. I actually watched a program on the telly called Ben Fogle, New Lives in the Wild. I was sharing it with Jackie the other week, and I really liked it. It was an island just off Mull, and I researched it. And anyways, long story short, they've invited me there on the 20th of next month for a week's retreat, you know. So I'm going there for a week's retreat amongst spiritually astute people after the crazy, crazy year that I've had. And I'm really, really sort of looking forward to it. And it just felt so right to research it and to want to go there. And we'll just wait and see what happens. Yeah, sounds good. I've never have done that in the past. I've never had the courage to just say to BT, I'm going to take early retirement, you know, because it was a well-paid job that I did. And I'm okay. I probably never felt better, you know. I don't have to go out when it's piddling down outside and climb a telegraph pole, you know. So yeah, I have my ups and downs. And something you said before, and it came to me when they told me I wasn't going to survive COVID, and Christians who spoke about it there. The only things that what it showed me was what was really important, and there really isn't a lot that is important, because all the other stuff is what it is. It's stuff and things, and it just fell away. And all that was important was love and service. And my dog, believe it or not, all I wanted was my dog, and I knew that I was going to die, just to give her a hug. So all the other stuff is irrelevant. I'm going to shut up at this, but all the other stuff just is absolutely meaningless. And I'm probably not going to feel like this tomorrow. I hope I do. I could be in a thought storm. I could be going crazy. That's where I'm at this moment in time. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Oh, thanks for speaking.
Thanks, Mike. Lovely.
My friend Joe Bailey, who has written lots of books about this and been teaching it for over 40 years too, just like me. He sent me some copies of some tapes that Sid Banks had done some years ago. And I was talking to Christian about this before we we got on today. So I woke up really early this morning and I realized I was done sleeping. So I got up and had breakfast and decided to watch one of the tapes. And it made me a little teary at first because, I knew him somewhat, not as well as a lot of people did, but I did know him. And he was just sitting at his desk in his home on Salt Spring and just talking like he talked. Said the same things that he said all the other hundreds of times I heard him. And I remember how many times I heard him before I understood what he was talking about. And that when I listened to him this morning, I thought, how could I have missed that? It's so simple. It's so simple that we have everything we need, that we're complete, and that we all, whether we ever know it or not, are connected to the whole. And that the only way that we can be miserable is if we use the gifts we have to create misery. It's such an inside out life. It's never outside in. Never, ever, ever, ever. What's going on outside is our own personal illusion. We're creating our own reality about whatever is outside. Outside is never the same to anyone. That's just like this huge, simple truth. Right now, however many of us there are here, we're not experiencing this moment the same way. We're all creating our own experience right now. And you'd be surprised how different those experiences are. You'd be amazed. If we had a little, like in comic books, if we had the little bubbles over our head and we could see each other's experience, we would go, what? And they're changing all the time. And we could see our own bubbles and we could see how fast it's changing. The moment we're experiencing is changing all the time.
Can I ask you a question about that, Mavis?
Sure.
I'm not arguing with you because I believe as well it's inside out. But I can't help thinking, but what about, like me, just come out of a marriage where I wasn't happy. And the reason for coming out of the marriage is to be happy. So that sounds outside in to me. And I'm not, I do see that it's inside out. Generally, I can understand it. But I still struggle with things like that when changing something in the outside world, so changing something on the outside is making me happier. Do you know what I mean? I'm kind of struggling with it a bit.
Well, I'm not sure what you're struggling with.
I'm struggling with seeing, because you're saying it's never outside in, but then I think, well, isn't that outside in the situation where you change your life to be happier? Do you know what I mean?
Let me ask you, go ahead.
Well, no, I was also, then I think, well, then is it kind of, you can be with anybody if you're all right inside, but then I can't see that being right either.
No, that's not right.
You know what I mean?
It's like, was it your idea to get out of marriage?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember the moment when you knew that?
Not the exact moment, no, because it creeps up over a long period of time, doesn't it?
I don't know. For you, I don't know.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
But there wasn't a moment. It was a feeling for a while that I ignored, and that sort of.
But you knew something was off.
Yeah, yeah.
How long were you married?
16 years. We're together 21 years.
Okay. How long did you know something was off?
Quite a lot. I would say the last 5 years particularly.
But then before then, what?
There was always, there was, I knew that there were things, but I always dismissed it and thought, oh no, they'll be all right. It'll be all right. He's a good man. He was a good man. And, yeah, I just think you've got to accept certain things, So I dismissed it, kind of thing.
Okay. Would it be fair to say that for quite a long, long time, something told you that this was not a good fit?
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that that was probably longer than you even think it was?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what do you make of that?
See, the first thing that comes in my head is I should have done it a long time ago and I could have been happier, but then that's doing the outside.
Well, something not being a good fit isn't the same as that there's something wrong with somebody.
Oh no, not at all. No.
So you know that already.
Not at all. It was us.
Right. So would you think it would be odd if I said there's something inside of us, there's a knowing that tells us when something's a good fit or it isn't?
Looking back, I guess so, yeah.
Okay. But see, you didn't know that then. You just didn't know that then. It has nothing to do with somebody being a good person or a bad person. There's another thing about chemistry that people talk about. There's that energy that's I don't call it chemistry because people usually get into thinking that's about sex. No, it isn't. It's that deeper kind of yes in two people. It has nothing to do with liking the same things. It has nothing to do with age. It has nothing to do with color and size and nothing. It's just this yes. And there's also no. And the more we understand about how we're made, the more that we understand that we can trust that wisdom that we're made of, the more we really understand that, the more we'll make our decisions from there and not from something up here.
Yeah. So I was missing the signals.
Yeah, well, you didn't know what they were.
No.
You didn't know. But there aren't any of us that couldn't say about our past that we had always done the best we knew, considering what we believed was possible at the time. And we look back now when we know a whole lot more and we can go, what was I thinking? But you didn't know.
Yeah.
You can't. Sometimes I think I should embroider this on a t-shirt and sell a gazillion of them. You can't know something till you know it.
Yeah.
You guys probably didn't do all that bad a job considering you weren't a good fit.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
I wonder if I could say something that when you were sharing there, Jackie, I was thinking of a situation I had when my kids were small. I became a single parent. My relationship broke up, and I really struggled, to be honest. And even though it was my decision to leave, and I was also struggling financially, and I was offered a job after a year or two, and I kind of knew in a way it wasn't a great fit, but it was the best fit that was available, especially knowing what I knew. And at that point in time, or what I didn't know at that point in time, and I took it, and I before I took it, I was really concerned that I might not be able to do it. That it would just be too draining. And it turned out I only ever had to do it 4 days a week. But it was a very well-paid job, and it was very secure and all that. And it ended up being. This is well before the principles, and sometimes I had to say to myself, just pretend that you're a spy and go in there, and you've got to not draw attention to yourself. That's because there were aspects of it I really, really didn't like. But I found, I kind of learned how to be happy within it, and even now looking back, it was. I think it was probably the best decision at the time of what was available to me, and from a principles context, I can see that we have the capacity to if there really are no choices, then sometimes we have the capacity to make the best of, to find that. So I found some really nice friendships and relationships in that job. That the fact that it was well paid, my kids had a really comfortable childhood and holidays and things like that. And it's not just and the strange thing was that the job came to an end in the most kind of miraculous way, exactly when my kids left home. I mean, within a week of it. And I think it's that the capacity to be happy is something different than that. And also that there's our knowing and our nudging, but sometimes our choices are more, are more limited than we would like them to be. Sometimes we have to take care of perhaps a sick relative or a dependent child, and I think that an understanding of how we work enables us to do that with a little more ease and grace and happiness. And if I learned how to, just out of tiny bits of time that I had to myself on my Fridays initially, and find things that were sustaining for me. And because at times I felt like I just turned into a slave doing stuff I didn't want to do all the time. But it was an extraordinary experience. So I think that many of us are fortunate enough to have lots of choice in our life and to be able to say yes to the things that, the promptings of our heart. But even when we aren't, that's not the end of the story. We don't have to be unhappy, I think. But it's wonderful that you are following the promptings of your heart and showing up bright and shiny today. And thanks for everything that you shared.
I'm glad you said that about sometimes the choices that are in front of us. It's not like great choice and then bad choice. It's not that simple. It's sometimes they're all kind of bad. I remember not long after I was divorced about 100 years ago, my kids were, let's see, they were about 6 and 8 and 10, I guess. And we had this dog. He lived for 17 years. He was the sweetest dog. He was part Dachshund and part Beagle. And he was just an angel of a dog. And one day, we lived in a neighborhood where there weren't any leash laws at the time. And the little dogs in the neighborhood just ran around playing with each other. But somebody had gotten a new dog, a big boxer. And I looked up out the window and I saw this big boxer banging something back and forth. And I realized it was our dog. And I ran up there and along with the owner, we got the dog to let go of him, but our dog got really damaged, really cut up. And so I grabbed the kids and the dog and we went up to the vets, and they could fix him. They needed to operate and close up the wounds, and they wanted to be paid in advance. And I asked how much it was, and it would empty my bank account. And until I got paid again, which is a week and a half or two away. And so I took the kids off onto the side and I said, okay, here's the deal. We have to vote on this. I'm not going to make this decision by myself. This is how much this operation costs, and this is how much I have. And so that means we can't make any trips in extra trips in the car. We can't replace broken hockey sticks. We can't buy any other groceries except what we already have until I get paid again. So you have to know that and decide, what do you want to do? And of course, they voted to fix the dog. So we did. And I added another thing, and you cannot complain about it. I don't want to hear any complaints about it. We're all voting. So they were pretty good about that. Actually, they were excellent about it. And the dog got fixed and he was all bandaged up. And one day I was at the kitchen sink and the porch was right outside, and my oldest was holding the dog and having a chat with him. And I heard him say, I hope you appreciate this. You wouldn't believe what we had for dinner last night. And, At the time, I didn't think that would turn out to be a great story because it was really hard to, things that come, can we go get that? No, we can't because I won't have enough gas to get to work. And they didn't complain, but it was tricky. But it was the best we could do given the choices we had. And who hasn't had times like that? Who hasn't? And that's probably not even close to some of the bad times you guys have had to make choices in. But you do want to know that we can't do any better than the best we know at the time. You can't do better than that until you know better. Is that I don't know what else I would have done then. It doesn't matter because that's how we handled it. And it worked out. So I just think it's really important to see your past as a story of the best you knew at the time, always. Because that's just the truth. It's not a way to soft pedal stuff. It's not a way to let yourself off the hook about this or that or the other thing. It's just the truth. You did the best you knew given what you saw was possible. You may have even have known there must be something better. You may have gotten that far. But if you didn't know what it was, you did the best you knew. So did I. I'm going to be next week. I'm going to be talking to a little 13-year-old boy from South Africa who lives in a really violent neighborhood. And he has done some kind of violent things. And the person in his little school wanted to know if I would talk to him. Right. Sure, I'm going to talk to him. Now, that little boy, I think he's 13, has been doing what he has been taught to do. And has been doing what has been done to him. Right? So, as god awful as it is, that's just the truth. I don't know what I'll be able to do, but I'm gonna do my best to help him see he's better than what he has done. He's more than what he has done. I don't know if that'll work. I have no idea. But what's true of him is true of all of us. We have done the best we knew, and we have done what has been done to us, and we have sometimes been taught some god-awful things. But see, the thing is, we have now. And now is all there is. It's always all there is. The past, as I said, is just a story. The future is you've heard me say this before, it's never shown up in the history of time, and it never will. But now we have. And we have everything to say about our now inside us. And that is powerful. When you know that you have everything you need already, you didn't have to earn it, you didn't have to accomplish it, you don't even have to name it, but you already have it. You are it. You are everything you need. And that's true whether you believe it or not. I didn't make that up. That's just true. That's just universal intelligence is everything that is needed. And we are made of that. It's as simple as that. When you know that, the outside doesn't get to decide what goes on in your inside. I have a nephew that I talk to every Sunday. He lives on a boat in the harbor in Los Angeles. And I talked to him on Sunday, and as soon as we got on FaceTime, I could see that he was grumpy. Well, it turns out he was grumpy because his water heater stopped, and he had to spend Sunday fixing his water heater, and he was really mad about that. So I was just listening to him for a bit, and he understands to a certain degree what we're talking about. And so I just mentioned to him that it's probably not a really good idea to let a water heater decide how you feel. And he was a little mad at me at first about it, but then he thought it was funny. But who hasn't done that? Who hasn't let an appliance ruin your day? An appliance? Really? Aren't we funny? But we're just funny because that's the best we know at the time. And when we catch on to it and we can have a laugh, that's good, huh? That's good. Any of you ever had a bad haircut? Except for Mike? Isn't it amazing how a bad haircut can just seem like the world's worst disaster? Really? It's right up there with water heaters. We're just magnificent creatures. And all of our problems have come from us not knowing that. We haven't had any fun yet.
We're coming towards the last 10 minutes of this call. So before Mavis hands out any homework, are there any questions, or is any of this that has anybody seen anything new?
Christiane, It's just reminding me that something as Mavis and was talking and everybody else over the last sort of few months, maybe about 5 months ago, something I just decided. Well, I didn't just decide; it was upon me to reduce eating meat for 10 days. So for the first 4 days, I did really well, and then there was nothing in the fridge. So apart from a piece of jerk chicken that had been pre-cooked. So that was my lunch. And as I ate it, something inside me just went, oh, I don't want to eat this anymore. So for the first 10 days, I ate a bit of a pizza on the Sunday. And then it's now 5 months since I've actually ate meat. And I think that was already upon me long before that sort of time to stop. Because I remember starting to think, oh, I don't want to eat steak anymore about 3 years ago. And it just reminded me of something that I've heard a lot of time. It's not up to me sometimes, or most of the time. Those changes can take place in sort of any areas, and probably when you least expect them, or where you least expect them to. So I just felt I wanted to share that. And then on the last bit of the call last week, I think David asked Mavis if she could change something in the world, what would it be? And it was about saving the planet. And I thought, I wonder how many people consciously stopped eating meat at the sort of same time, without any idea as to why they did it. And I thought, then I started to think, well, what contribution does that make to the planet? And I can't see myself eating meat again. And all of a sudden, I'm starting to sort of go off fish as well. I didn't eat a lot of fish, but I'm like, I don't really want to eat this anymore. So that inside me is telling me that this is not what I want to do anymore. And I'm listening to that. And obviously that leads to better health, impact on the environment, etc. So that's just what I wanted to share with people.
That's great. Inch by inch. It's just the little things all of us can do. And really, those choices just come from a deep inner wisdom. We don't need meat. Thank you for that, Gary.
Thank you.
Yeah. Christian, do we have some sort of idea of what we're going to do about the schedule?
Of course, the answer is something a little bit more complicated than I thought, but there seemed to
We're
be
human beings.
Yeah, the way in ahead was next Tuesday. So I don't know. Some people put more than one answer, and they weren't necessarily consistent. So I am wondering if we should go ahead with Tuesday, and if anyone feels that they can't make it and hard done by, we will come up with something to sort that out. How does that sound? Anyone can drop me a line, send me an email, contact me on Facebook, and if you're not happy with that, again, it will be recorded, but various people can't make other dates or things like that. So how does that sound to you, Mavis?
Yep.
The same time. And just to give you, the heads up, I'll put this in an email afterwards because I don't want to spend loads of time talking about it, but we have this issue with clock changes the following week, and so we'll have to decide whether we go with the American time or whether we stick with 4 p.m. in the UK, which will be an hour later in America for 1 week only, because the clocks change a week apart this year. So sorry, sorry to throw all these logistics on you. We don't need to make a decision about that. So I'll put that in the email. And but the workaround for next week is we're going to meet on Tuesday at 4 p.m. UK time, 10 a.m. Central time, and whatever other time you're because I know some of you are at different places again. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think there was only yeah. Okay, thank you. Any last thoughts? Any burning desire to share before, because we are coming towards the end of our time for today. And please do know what you know, whether you're here live in the call or whether you're watching the recording, you're very welcome to send in questions in advance if if you're more comfortable doing that, because it's really helpful to the process to be responding to the things that you raise, the issues that you raise. Mavis, any last thoughts from you?
Thanks for showing up again. It's I feel like I belong to this secret little club. It's great. Thanks for your stories, for listening, and continuing my education.
Yeah, thank you all very much for being here and participating.
So see you next Tuesday.
Yeah. Thanks everybody. See you then. And the recording will be up either later today or first thing tomorrow. Bye everybody.
Take care.